Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing another wreath transformation. I already have this existing wreath. This is a wreath that I hang at my front door and I change it up every season. I love the original flowers and some greenery that has been on there for quite a few transformations. And I don't want to have to spend any more money. We're going to keep it minimal as far as what we're spending, but we do want to make it look fall. So there's going to have to be some changes in there. The one thing that I am going to keep, obviously, the wreath, but I'm going to keep these flowers, and I've been keeping these flowers all along. I love them. They are very neutral color. They're big, so they fill up this large wreath very well. I'm going to keep the birdhouse because it's also a large item. So rather than adding a pumpkin and making this way too themey, I'm going to leave that birdhouse on there. It does look springy, but we're going to change it up just a little bit by adding some different little elements to it. So that means we're going to have to change this little bird over. He's blue, and I think we need to change him to another bird that's a little bit more fall. And I have about 3 choices that I can choose from. It has this ribbon here that is very summery, and it pretty much doesn't really go here, but I went ahead and I added it on there. But now I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to add something a little bit more fall. What will stay is this beautiful greenery that's behind the flowers. It is a garland that I used. It is a little bit springy, but it works for Christmas, it works for summer, it works for fall. It adds some nice filler to my wreath because it is very big, so we don't have to use so much more materials. We don't have to go out and buy so much more to fill this out. So we've got some big flowers already existing. We've got some nice greenery already existing that fills up everything, and we have a nice little birdhouse that we can go ahead and leave as well. So I am going to be decorating my outdoor with some pumpkins and things like that. So that's another reason why I also decided that I didn't have to use this. Now there are some extra flowers on here. They're from the Dollar Tree. They're just these like yellow lily type of flowers, and I just stuck them in there. These are going to come off because we're not going to be using those. So let me show you what I will be using. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got a lot of items, and now I know I said we're going to be working with minimal. So I just want you to keep in mind that what I have here are items that I have been using, not just for one project, but I've been using it for several. Now I do have a couple of new items here. The rest I have already been using it, and I hope that I can use a little bit from that, and then hopefully I can use it to maybe make another 2 projects out of it. So the first thing I'm going to introduce is the greenery, because this is something that I have already been using before in my fall projects. And it's this greenery right here. It's just some nice, really beautiful leaves. They have a nice green on them, but they also have some little bit of a burgundy and a little bit of a yellow tinge to them. So I feel like they work very well with fall. And then I've also got a little bit left of this fall bush. And as you can see, it's got some beautiful orange, gold, and kind of like a rust color, which I absolutely love. And it's got some little berries in there that I've also been using, some little pine cones, and some little twiggies in there. Let me tell you, when I purchased these items, I got them at Hobby Lobby, and I made sure that I got them on sale. So you want to make sure you look for items that are on sale. And don't be scared if you see a greenery bush. That's what, let me see, for this one, for example, was $13.99, but there are some that are they're like $19.99. They're $20, but if you're going to get them at half off, they're only going to be about 10 bucks. Even at 40% off is a good deal. 30, 40, 50% off are the sales that you want to look for. But at Hobby Lobby, they pretty much have, you know, the greenery at 50% off. So that's what I grabbed, because even though I'm still going to pay $10 for it, or even if I was even going to pay $20 at regular price, I'm going to make this go a long way. So you always want to make sure you look at your bush or greenery bushes and make sure you've got plenty in there that you can use in different projects and arrangements. Okay, so that is just a little tip. So I'm going to move on, because I also have this, which is a beautiful fern, and you can see the colors are absolutely beautiful. I happen to be in love with them, and I hope that you agree. And I have been using pieces from it to decorate other projects, and I've just been using very little of it, and it looks really great on the projects that I've been doing. So if you've been seeing the past few videos, you'll know that I've been using this. So I still have quite a bit of that on here, and I don't intend on using it all. Just little bits of different little greeneries here and there makes a beautiful arrangement. Okay, so I do have some new ones. These are some sunflowers, and I had to grab them. I love sunflowers. I think they're absolutely beautiful. They work great in summer and they work great in fall. Now these happen to have some fall leaves in them, and you know what? These little branches here that have all these fall on them, I don't even have to use them. I can save them for another project because I've already got lots of greenery here. Or I don't have to use that and I can use this. So one or the other. But then I have these beautiful sunflowers, and I can just use maybe 3 of them from here, and then I can save the others for some other project because I already have some really big flowers on here. So I just want to add another accent flower to it. Now just to add a little bit of light, and I do have quite a bit with this neutral tone cream flower, but I found these also at, okay, let me tell you first, this one here, I got it from Hobby Lobby and I got it at half off. This is from their fall, and it was $19.99, so I paid $10 for it. But like I just said, I can use for 2 projects. I think I'm going to get 2 or 3 projects out of this. I'm not really sure, but if I'm getting at least 2 projects, I paid it half off for this. It was $20, I paid $10, which means I'm going to spend $5 of this on one of my arrangements. Okay, this one here I also got from Hobby Lobby. I also got it half off. It was part of their fall. It is $10. I paid $5 for it. That sounds like a lot, but I'm only going to use a few little twigs, and the rest of it I'm going to save it again for another project. And I can't point that out to, enough to you guys that you can use that, one item for so many other items. Okay, so let's move along from that. I've got this beautiful, well, I think it's beautiful. Again, that's my opinion. I have this fall ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby some time ago, and it's been going a long way. This is a roll that has, well, originally had 30 feet, so it was 10 yards. It was a $7.99 regular price. Of course, I waited for fall to be 50% off, and that is pretty quick when you're shopping like from Michael's or Hobby Lobby and places like that. So I actually paid $4 for this. So I got 10 yards for $4, and I have so much ribbon. I've used it in other projects, and I'm going to continue using it. And what I also can do is I can take the bow off of there after the season, put it away, bring it out the next season. So this is great. Also, if you're making several projects, like if you're selling them, you'll get a lot when you get a nice big roll. So make sure you look for those type of rolls of ribbon that have a lot of yards in them. Okay, so I said I wanted to switch out the birds. Don't pay attention to that. That's just some little rogue leaves. But I wanted to switch out the birds. So here I have this little owl, and it is an ornament owl actually for the Christmas tree. I purchased these, but I actually I purchased them from Hobby Lobby again. So if you're wondering where I'm getting all my items, of course, you can shop from wherever you want and get your products from wherever. I'm just letting you know where I got my specific items in case you're curious. And of course, I got it at 50% off. So anyway, this is from their Christmas. And it has this little pine, but because I'm not putting any other pine anywhere on my wreath, I can go ahead and remove that one little bit, but I'm going to leave the little pine cones on there. I'm even going to leave the little berries on there if I choose to use my little owl. Now, I said he's an ornament, but he doesn't have to be an ornament. I can put him right on the birdhouse or in front of the birdhouse. I also have this other beautiful, it looks like a little quail. I'm not really sure what kind of a bird this is, but it's a pretty little bird with some brown, and I think he's a precious. Got some little spotted areas in his little feathers. This is just a little clip, so he'll clip on easily wherever I put him. So that's one choice. And then I also have this other little clip on, and it is another little owl. So I'm going to see which one I think works best on my arrangement. I'm kind of leaning towards the little bird, but we'll see. So therefore, you'll be able to make your own opinion or your own decision of what you want to use by looking at the different what is it that the choices that I have here. Okay, that's pretty much going to be it. Because I'm making a bow, I'm going to need some wire or a chenille stem. So I've got one right here ready to go. Got to clean up my workstation here. I've got some wire cutters so I can cut from the branches here, the twigs or the stems. And then I've got some scissors so I can cut my ribbon. And I am going to be using my hot glue. You don't have to. You can pretty much just stick everything in there without having to glue anything. The reason that I'm going to do it is because it is going to be on my front porch, and like I said, lots of wind and such hit it. Or I don't know if I mentioned that, but a lot of wind and such, the elements of weather hit at the front door, even though it is covered. I want to go ahead and make sure that things don't go flying off. So I'm going to hot glue them, but I'll show you what you can do if you don't want to hot glue them. So let's get to crafting. Alright, so the first thing I want to do to get my wreath going is to remove all the items that I don't want on there. And I've already had already removed this little flower from there. It was bent like so. So this is the tip that if you do not want to use a glue gun, you cut your stems long enough where you can just cut them and make like a little hook, kind of like a fish hook. And what you do is when you insert it into your wreath, you know, between the little twigs on the wreath, or if it's a straw wreath, you can just poke it in, and when you pull it back out, just poke it in as far as you can. You can just pull it out just a little bit so it hooks up on something. Okay, so that is the little tip for not having to use a hot glue gun. So I'm going to remove those yellow flowers. They're very tropical. I don't need them. The yellow's a little too springy, summery. I think I removed it without the stem. There we go. See how easily it is to just pull them out because I didn't glue them on. And my ribbon is just tied on with a chenille stem, so we're going to just twist that off. And then, of course, my little bird, and he's just on there with a piece of chenille stem. He didn't have a little clip on him. And I didn't want to have to hot glue him because that way I could just pull him off. So there we go. What I did is I ended up poking a little hole because he's styrofoam, and then I put this little piece of chenille stem through him. Or you could just hot glue it on the bottom, just bend the chenille stem and glue it on there. And then you can use that to tie it on. Okay, so there we go. And then the next thing I want to do is I just want to inspect it because it was on my front door. And I want to make sure there's no little bugs or maybe some spiders or something that may have made a home in it, which they tend to do. So I'm just going to inspect it a little bit. Now, I did inspect it before I did bring it in the house. I wanted to make sure that there was not any brown recluse because we have seen them out there, and the black widow spider. So I did check it for that, but I'm going to check it one more time and just make sure that there's nothing in there. So let me do that off camera, and we'll be back and we'll start decorating it for fall. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and choose the sunflowers that I want to use on my wreath. It's got some really beautiful sunflowers. There's 3 that are about the same size, and I think I'm going to use those and save this really big one and these 2 smaller ones for another arrangement. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these, and I'm cutting them at the longest point for each of those stems. There we go. And because I don't need them to be that long, I know you didn't see what I was doing, it was down here. So I cut them at the longest point. So what you want to do is you want to go look at your stem and cut them down way down here because you never know how much of the stem you're going to need. So just cut that off. And then now that I have this, I don't need all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right above that bottom leaf because that's a lot of stem. I don't need all of that. So I'm going to cut that off. But I'm going to save this because I could use these leaves for something else. And I'm going to do the same for this. Let's see. Just the flower. Save that. And this one here. Just the flower. Okay. And save that. Okay, so now I've got these 3 flowers, and now I've got to decide where I want them. I want one up here somewhere. So I'm just going to tuck it in just like that for now. I think one right here. And just to even it out, we'll do another one over here. Oops. Now I'm not going to worry about this little spot here because that's where my bow is going to go. So I don't want to put anything there. Alright? So let me go ahead and insert this a little bit further in. There we go. Sometimes when you have things outside, one thing about using your hot glue gun, your glue does tend to wear out. That is my kitten. Let me stop that. All right, forgive that noise, you guys. Sometimes I'm so into what I'm saying that I'm not even paying attention to other, background noises. I have I have the 2 little kittens, and they're playing, and one of them is at the plastic bag, and he's still at it right now. So please forgive that little noise, but that's what that is. Okay, so I was saying that when you use a hot glue gun, sometimes the glue wears out over time, and the items start to fall off. So you want to make sure that like these flowers that I always have on here, I want to add a little more glue to them. So that's another thing that I'm going to do. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and glue these in as well because, like I said, I don't want the wind blowing them off. So I like where they're at. Get my hot glue gun here. And yes, it is on. I had to check it and make sure. All right. Let me take these off because I already know where I want them. But I want to make sure that everything else is glued in place. So I noticed that it's a little bit floppy, so that's why I'm fixing it. These I'm just going to push them out of the way. This one was a little floppy too. This one's fine. See, this one kind of droops down, so we want to fix that. So let's bend it upward. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there. Make sure it doesn't move around. There. I think this one's fine. Again, we're leaving the space open here. Okay, so I'm just going to pull these up out of the way, and I'm going to insert the first sunflower. Did it matter? No, not really. Let's go ahead and use this one. I'm just going to add some glue. I should have bent it a little bit. Always bend your stem a little bit. Okay, so now that it's got some glue, I can slide it in and make sure that it's on something and it's glued on. So just bend it or make a hook if you're not going to use your hot glue. Okay, so let's just make a hook for the heck of it. Bend it a little bit. The reason that I bend it is because I don't want to stick it in there and then it's facing upward or facing down or to the side. I want it facing forward. Oops. Now you're putting a bunch of them on there. You're filling it up with lots of flowers. You can put flowers facing every different way. So let's put one over here. Forgive my back. Okay, there we go. And then I said we were going to put one down here somewhere. Did I put this one up too high? Maybe no. Let's just do that. Okay. Let me bend that little in there. Put some glue. Just like that. And we'll stick it right in there. Okay. I think that's really good. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to take some leaves like these browns. So let me go ahead and cut a couple of little stems so we can add some of this color in there. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and add my ribbon. So let me move the camera down so you can see me make the bow. I do have videos on how to do handmade bows, so make sure you go into my channel and look at my playlist, and there is one that says handmade bows. So there's different example videos there that you can watch. If anybody would like me to renew a video on handmade bows, let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and move the camera down so you can watch me. I'm just going to be very detailed about it. Alright, so here I have my ribbon, and I'm going to have a little tail. And I like the cut here that it has already. It's got a little bit of an angle cut, or you can cut it straight. But I prefer to fold it in half, and from the fold down or outward towards the edge. I think my scissors need some sharpening. Just cut it so that you get this little dovetail, or maybe on the table you see it better, like that, okay? So that's my little tail. Now I don't want my tails to be very long. I don't want them hanging too much from my wreath. My wreath is already pretty big, so it doesn't need any length. So I'm just going to choose about 6 to 8 inches. Pinch it right there, twist, and always have the nice side of the ribbon facing upward, and make your loop. Pinch it, twist it again so that you have the nice side of your ribbon upward, so that when you make your loop, it is on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to make about, let's see, this is not a very wide, or it's a narrow ribbon. It is 1.5 inches wide, and I'm going to do maybe 6 loops. And then I'll end up with a little tail, just like the one at the beginning. So I'll just cut it straight, and then I'll cut that little dovetail out of it. And I need to sharpen my scissors, guys. Okay. Kitty. Alright, so now I just get my chenille stem and then just twist. And I twist the actual ribbon so that it tightens inward rather than just twisting all these and, you know, this is very loose. So you want to twist, you know, so that it twists inward. Okay, so now we have these little stems out to the side, and we can use those to tie it onto our wreath, which we will do next. And let me go ahead and cut this. Alright, there we go. Let's go to our wreath. Alright, so we're back to our wreath, and you can poof up your bow if you want. I'm going to wait till I actually tie it on there and then poof it up, because a lot of times it just gets really crushed. So I'm just going to pick the spot, which is right here, and just tie it on there. And I'm just going to curl up the ends of that chenille and then just poke it in there. And then I can just straighten my bow and poof it up. Just like that. And if you feel like you need a little bit of hot glue in there to make sure it doesn't move around on you, add a little bit of glue back there. I think I need more glue on my glue gun. There we go. Okay. we'll leave it alone for now. Okay, so now I've got these brown stems with these leaves, and I think I need one more. I might end up using this whole thing. I'm not really sure. I do have the fern, so you know what? Let me cut some pieces from that because I do want to include that. I love fern. I love fern leaves. Look at that. They're beautiful. So I'm going to cut these off, and I just poked myself really bad with the wire. So I'm going to cut these off at the bottom as well. Okay, so I'm going to cut a few of these and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to add the fern leaves next and the other brown type of leaves. Now you may notice that, well, there's no orange on here, and the bow has lots of orange in it, but that's where these leaves are going to come in. We're going to add that orange in there. So you can just take, you know, some fern leaves, and they're nice. I like them because they fill up quite a bit of space. And I'm going to tuck one in like back here somewhere. I think I just want to maybe place them down here and maybe not up there, but let's see. I'm going to go ahead and use this one because I like the color, but it is a little too long. So I'm going to go ahead and snip it a little bit shorter. And then I can put some glue back here and glue it right in place. Let's get this glue going here. So you notice that I lifted this up because out of the way so I can make sure that I glued this onto the actual grapevine. And then once you're done, you can just place these back and a little bit in front of it. It's really nice. There's a nice one with some brown in it. I'm going to tuck it in kind of coming out this way on the bottom, and I'll just repeat the same pattern on the other side. Okay. Okay, so I've got a couple of fern leaves on each side. I can see them. I don't know if you can notice them, but they're in there. They're noticeable enough. If you feel like you want them to stick out a little bit more, do a little bit longer, make it look even grander. But I really don't want my wreath to go too big. I don't have like a super big front door, so I don't need to add any girth to my wreath. Okay, so I also went ahead and I fixed some of this greenery around here, and also to kind of help to lift this bow up a little bit so it's not, you know, dripping too much. So use some of the greenery to do that as well. I think I said I wanted to possibly have some of the fern coming upward. So I think I'm going to add, I don't know if I like it better on the outside or on the inside. I think I'm going to do it kind of like on the outside, but I'm going to kind of like do this to it so it curves up a little bit. And I'm going to trim off just a tad because I don't want to have to tuck it in too far in. Or actually, I am going to tuck it in a bit, but I don't want it to stick out too much, so I'm cutting it. So excuse me, I'm going to go on this side. Reach in there, behind the flower here. And I want to make sure, oh, there's still one of these flowers in there, you guys. Take that off. And fix this greenery so it's not looking like it's all crushed up. Okay, so there. I think that looks really nice. And I'll do it on the other side. That also helps to bring the colors up a little bit higher, but I do have those other leaves. Now, I did have these green ones too as well, so I don't want to forget that. I do like to place like flowers first. I like to place those with a focal item, and like this item here, which is the birdhouse. I like to place those first so that I can work everything else around that. And then also I like to place a bow before I place anything because I don't want to have to fill that little space up and then I come back with a bow and then just cover everything, or just I wasted, you know, those materials in that little spot. I'm just adding a little bit of glue here because I cut off a little tip off of here. And it had something there, but it is gone. So I don't want that, you know, little piece sticking out from the center. So I just cut it off, and I added a little bit of glue so that this one doesn't slide off. Okay, so now these leaves can be tucked in here and there. And I think that would look really pretty, these brown leaves with the gold and orange or burnt orange. So, some glue. Again, you could do the little hook and just stick it in there. Always move things out of the way. There we go. And then intertwine things. Make it look like everything just kind of grew on each other, okay? And maybe I'll just cut this one off a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish putting these little leaves on here, and I shall be back because I think my husband is here. Okay, so I'm back, and I've already gone ahead and I've added the brown leaves on there. I added a little bit. I was tempted to go ahead and add the rest of them, but I still have these green ones. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in there, and then if I feel like I need a little bit more brown or some oranges in there, I'll add more of this. So I still have these left, and I still have a lot of this fern left. And I have a lot of this green, which I've already cut up into a bunch of pieces. There's more down here on the table. I've already gone ahead and cut them like I said, so I am using some pieces that then I cut into smaller little bits like these, and then I can use these to tuck them in. Now you may be thinking, well geez, you know, why don't you just go ahead and put a bunch of orange and browns, and you know, which I love, and I'm tempted to do that. I do want to see a little bit of the grapevine in the background, so we want to also make sure that we don't use so much material that we don't have anything to use for another project. So we're working with minimal pieces of material so that then we can create something full like this. Okay, so look at this. I'm going to use some green. Now, like I said, I was going to answer your question that you might have. Why aren't you going ahead and use brown? The reason that I'm not going to do that here is because here in Texas, we don't really have a orangey fall out there. Our fall is summer, okay? And some of our winter is pretty much summer as well. So I'm going to keep it to kind of basically go with what is already out there. Now, of course, why not go ahead and use our browns? Geez, if you don't have that, why don't you go ahead and use it? It's just my personal preference. So that is going to be up to you how much, you know, actual greenery you're going to use, or if you're going to use oranges and browns and such. Okay. There you go. And for those of you who weren't even thinking about that, well, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to put some of this just to fill in some areas, give it a little bit more fullness, because, you know, it is fall, it is abundance, so we want a little bit of that. But, you know, like I said, we're using minimal pieces from different things. Okay, so right over here, I feel like I need something, and then a little bit more, a little bit higher. Let's see, right about right here. I was looking at it earlier and thinking, where do I need stuff? Okay, and right about right here, I feel like I need something because it's really full, but right here it's not, so I'm going to go ahead and get another piece. It's got the little white paper there from the tag, and I'm being lazy to remove it because I poked my finger earlier. I think I said a little piece of the wire from this fern got right into it and made a nice puncture on my finger, and it's hurting. Okay, so I know you all wanted to know that. Okay, let's put that right there. That fills in that little spot, but I can still see the grapevine, okay? All right, so I feel like I've used enough greenery. I've used my beautiful sunflowers. So we're going to move that out of the way. And remember, I still had these. Now, here's where the decision comes. Do I need to use these? Let me look at it. You know what? I was thinking no, but I'm going to put something across here where there's little birdhouses so it doesn't look so, you know, springy, so green. So I'm going to take a stem of this. Let's see. Got to decide here where I want it. I think going across it like that, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue and I'm just going to tuck it right into it. This little greenhouse is made of like grapevine, kind of like a twine, like a twig, and then it's got some like moss on it. We got this at Joann's quite some time ago. I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago. My husband and I were in there, and he liked it, and it was like $6. I think it might have been a clearance or it was a sale or something. It was marked down. So he was like, oh, I gotta have that birdhouse. And you know what? I've never used it on anything. I've always had it hanging on the wall until this spring. I pulled it out and I said, I'm gonna use that. And I don't know why. Okay, so look, I've tucked it in there, but look what it's doing. It's dripping downwards. So I'm gonna put little dots of glue and some little spots here and there to lift this up, and I'm going to put it across this way. So here's where I'm manipulating the actual flow of that. This little white paper from the sticker will not come off of me. So anyway, I'm manipulating the flow of the little branches here from this. And if I want more, I could add more. I'm looking at it and deciding, you know what, there's some pretty little other little kind of a seed looking kind of little twigs on it. That would look cute on there too. Maybe. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and glue it right there. I'm going to take some of these little bits off of it so I can have that little stem to stick it in there. And I think I'm going to go right behind it into that little birdhouse. Get that little flower in front of it. Okay, so I also don't want it to droop, so I'm going to add a little bit of glue up here on the little stem and glue it to the birdhouse and have a whole bunch of webs for my glue gun all over the place. Okay, so we're going to hold that. I'm going to let it dry. Y'all got too much of my back there. I'm sorry about that, you guys. Normally I work on the table and you see me, you know, the camera's down on everything. The reason that I do this with wreaths, I think it's nicer to look at them when they're actually hanging on the wall. And I don't have it where I can hang it right here and it not move around. So I have to work, I have to work at it like this. And of course my back is in there. Okay, so I don't want to make y'all feel cringy looking at my back. Okay, let's go now because we're almost finished because there's only one more thing to add and I want to show you the options. Okay, so I'm just moving these little webs of a glue gun and then I'm lifting these little branches upward so they're kind of also going across the little birdhouse here. And I want to make sure that none of this is like crushed. So you want to look at every little branch and just perk it up a little bit, you know, make sure nothing is bent, you know, obviously crushed, but that it has more of a natural flow as it goes around the wreath. So like this one here, for example, with a little crush back there. This is maybe too forward, so let's push that back. Here we go. I think it looks fine. I'm going to get these little twigs to kind of go across here in the back of the birdhouse. Okay, so all I need now is a little bird. So I was kind of liking this one here. So let's put him on there and see how he looks. Let's get it there. Okay, so I have to get completely in front of the camera to add him on there. So there he is. I think he looks absolutely pretty. Look at that. Okay, let's try the little owl, but like I said, I'm going to remove this little pine, so I'm just going to cut that off, and I'm not going to worry about it because come Christmas, if I want to use them for something and I want to replace that, I've got plenty of pine to replace that little bit, so I'm going to have to tear it all off to get that off of there. Okay, I'll be back while I remove all of this. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've glued the little twig with the pine and the little berries on there. If I wanted, I could switch out those little red berries because my sunflower bush over here, let me just take some off. Okay, so I was saying that you could replace these. So my sunflower bush has these little berries, so what I can do is I can take those off and then just cut these off and then just glue them in place. So if I wanted to change the berries or maybe just add one of these, which I think I will. Just put a little bit of glue onto it and then pick this back up, and I'm going to move the little berries out of the way here so I can tuck this orange one in there, and there we go. Just a little tiny little touch, you guys, and I still have these that I can use on something else. So here's what this little guy would look like. He's still not quite dry. I'm just sitting him on there. Okay, I would put a chenille stem to tie him down or some floral wire, or I could hot glue him. But that's the little owl on there, so you could look at that option and make a decision which you would like to use. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We'll remove him. And then I have this other little owl, and he's got a little clip which I can just slide right in there like so, and he looks really cute on there. But you know what, I think at the end I'm either opting for the owl or the bird, but I think I'm gonna go for the bird. I really like the way the owl looks, and I kind of want to use them indoors now because I do have one more, and I think I'm going to think of a little project. I think I have like a little cage I might use. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and remove him and add this little bird instead. That's my decision. You would choose which you like. So let me know in the comments down below which one would you have chosen. All right, so I'll be back once this is all completed. All right, everyone, so I have completed my project. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. I still have lots of supplies left over. Here's this greenery, and then I have a little bit of the brown greenery here. So that is pretty good, and I have 2 little birds left over for some other projects, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful, as I think I already said. So I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too give me a big old thumbs up and leave a nice comment down below and let me know what you think of this transformation. It's super easy. All you need is just a few little supplies, maybe some leftover pieces from something else, maybe from the previous year, and just change up something you already have. All you got to do is add a little bit to it. You don't really have to, you know, change it drastically. All right, so that's it, everyone, and I want to thank everyone who has been subscribing, so thank you very, very much. And if you haven't already subscribed, the camera moved because of my little kittens. Oh my goodness. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that red subscription button and then the notification bell. You'll be notified of when I put up my videos, and I do them twice a week. This week, for our Thursday, Friday, I decided that I wasn't going to do a recipe video because I really wanted to do another craft, and I think I have 2 more for fall, so those will be coming out for you as well. So also leave any suggestions of what you'd like to see for future videos. I think I might try doing a couple of Halloween. I don't really use Halloween around my house, but if you feel like you want to see that, I do have a suggestion from someone that wanted to see something, so I may do that. I still haven't figured it out, but they sent me like a half moon with I think it was a Dracula or something on the half moon. So if that was you, it was through I think my Facebook, where the this picture was sent to me to come up with something, and I haven't quite worked on that too much, so forgive me, but that is something to think about. So let me know what y'all think if you want Halloween. So anyway, you guys, don't forget to share on your social medias. Be kind to each other. Respect each other, please. Respect each other and all our differences. Share love with everybody, and be happy. And as always, enjoy.